This is Paul Harris from CGS Mining Intelligence. Today, I am with Tim Coughlin, President and CEO of Royal Road Minerals. Joined this morning with Tim Coughlin, President and CEO of Royal Road Minerals. Morning, Tim.
Morning, Paul.
Despite the COVID restrictions in Latin America, you seem to have been quite busy putting out various news releases both for Colombia and Nicaragua in the last few weeks. So you're still able to sort of progress work and keep moving forward.
Well, in Nicaragua, although we imposed our own internal restrictions, there are no real government, or there's no real government restrictions in respect of isolation in any case. And so we're drilling there. Actually, we started drilling a couple of days ago at Luna Roja. In Colombia, most of that news you saw is related to the formalization agreements that we're doing down in Nariño province. So they're agreements that were on the table in any case. Mining and exploration is now exempt. And so we're preparing the drilling, which we'd set up to do in any case at Guintar Niverengo, and hope to have drill rigs moving there in the next couple of weeks.
Okay, and that's the project you acquired or obtained from AngloGold Ashanti, and is that the one that's now part of the joint venture arrangement with Mineros?
Correct, yeah. So it's a 50-50 deal. Well, it will be a 50-50 deal. They're earning in to 50%.
Okay, and that's in the same sort of structural zone as Buritica?
With respect to Buritica, I don't think so. What is there at Guintar Niverengo is a skarn. So we have a calc-silicate package, well laminated, and what appears to be almost a stratabound control to mineralization there. So we won't know that for sure until we've done more drilling.
AngloGold Ashanti did quite a bit of drilling there. So is your drilling focused on expanding on what they did, or is that to help you really get a good understanding of what may be there?
No, so Anglo had a different target to us. There's, as I mentioned, there's a stratabound term for people who don't know what that is. So, when you have a sequence of strata, and you can think of it as flat, although it's not, these rocks are folded, then the gold mineralization is replacing a certain package. So it's sort of tabular, flat tabular in form. That's one style of mineralization there. The other one that's cross-cutting it, which is probably more akin to your Buritica style. What's cutting that are some low sulfidation epithermal veins. And they were the main objective of looking for, not because they're thin veins, but looking for sort of vein zones, was the main objective of Anglo's targeting now. So over the project, we've got the magnetics and the chargeability data. Now, if you're looking for what Anglo were looking for, you're looking for completely the opposite of what we're looking for in both of those data sets. So Anglo were looking for low sulfidation veins, which are neither chargeable nor magnetic. The magnetic lows, and they're usually resistors, or they might have a little bit of chargeable, usually resistors. What we've found is that the skarn body is magnetic and it's chargeable. So we're targeting something completely different.
Now, in Nariño, you mentioned a moment ago you've been very active concluding some of the formalization agreements. So that seems to be going along very successfully. What about your broader plans for exploration there? Nariño is basically Colombia's southern border with Ecuador. Just the other side of the border is where SolGold, for example, has had a lot of exploration success. So your plan there is hopefully to be able to explore and find similar sort of copper gold success.
That's correct. So there are two things we're doing because you've got two styles of mineralization down there. You've got two different ages and sort of tectonic settings. You have the gold systems, which are the high grade, predominantly flat, but not always, so predominantly flat veins, such as El Gualtal, La Esmeralda, and some of the other projects that you've seen us formalizing. Now, the strategy there is to go through the formalization process because we do have a lot of informal operations within the mining titles that we have down there. And you've seen those deals. So essentially, we're making these guys legal. They're paying us a royalty, 3% in gold in exchange for doing that. And we also have the option to earn back in, if you like, to what was our own property, to up to about 70% by completing usually a drilling program and an internal feasibility study. So the idea behind that is that, well, one, we're fulfilling it's more than an aspiration. We're fulfilling a strategy as dictated by the mines department in terms of making these guys whole, resolving social issues in making these people legal, cleaning up the environment, etc. That earns us trust, social license, the license to operate. What we're doing presently at the moment in respect of regional exploration is we're planning some drilling at Esmeralda. There's a fairly convincing, at least we think it's convincing, induced polarization target there, which fits with the geology. It's not out there as just a geophysical target. There's a geological framework to it. So we're going to drill that. So we're moving through the permitting process of doing that. We're planning a ground magnetic survey, which will take in a long line of semi-contiguous or almost contiguous formalization projects that we're doing. So we'll cover all that with the mag. That's a different age and setting to the porphyries. Now, in terms of the porphyries, we're looking for a JV. So we've been working with various partners in respect of getting a copper search joint venture strategy going down there in the south, and that would the plan at the moment is that would start with a regional fixed wing airborne geophysical, so airborne mag and maybe some LiDAR and radiometrics.
Thank you. Turning back to sort of Nicaragua, you mentioned that the government didn't pose any restrictions, and so you've been able to continue operating more or less normally there. And your last press release was about the further evidence that the Caribe target that's looking increasingly interesting. What are you doing there, and what are the next steps for Caribe?
Just in terms of the COVID, there are, the government has encouraged, if you like, social distancing and people managing the pandemic as they see fit. And what we've simply done is deployed the protocols that we apply to operations in Colombia straight to Nicaragua. Now, in terms of Caribe, what we found there is interesting from the perspective of a large porphyry copper gold target. I guess that was initially the target, but you never really know. So that project was found on the basis of whilst one of our geologists was following up a airborne magnetic anomaly that looked like a porphyry core. So porphyry cores are generally, not always, generally magnetic. They have a quartz magnetite core. So there was a nice discrete circular anomaly that, as part of our reconnaissance program, we went out to have a look at. On the way, Mauricio Valencia, who is our geologist, on the way he almost tripped over a float sample of really strongly altered, there's no outcrop, so just a float sample of strongly altered volcanics, which he sampled, and it came back 3.5 grams, and that was the start of it. So really, we did an auger survey, which was the first one that got through this laterite cover, as I say, no outcrop at all, laterite cover, and the auger got underneath that, around where this rock chip sample was taken from, and we got a pretty good soil anomaly, and we drilled it, and we got some pretty good gold intersections in those drill holes. Now that area is about a kilometre or so, a kilometre and a half away, I think, from the magnetic anomaly he was going to have a look at. But after we drilled those holes and got some petrography back, it became pretty clear that those drill cores were sampling rocks and finding gold in rocks that are characteristic of the outer parts of a porphyry. So a porphyry is basically a round thing with concentric circles of different intensities and different styles of altered host rock. And so it looks at this stage that we're in the outer portions of a porphyry, and that's where the drill holes have been going into it just now. And the important thing about the geophysics is that it confirmed where that airborne anomaly was. So, before you drill or potentially focus in on an airborne target, it's always advisable to conduct ground geophysics just in case, ensure that anomaly is in the right place. So that proved to be the case. And so what's next is we'll be doing some auger sampling over exactly where that, to get down underneath that laterite, over exactly where that anomaly is, and then plan to drill that hopefully this year after we've finished at Luna Roja.
Thank you. You looking sort of bigger picture. You and the company have been sort of pretty good at sort of doing deals both to acquire properties, bring properties into the company, and also finding partners to help explore those. Is that effort going to continue? Are you still looking for other properties?
That's a really interesting question, because it's one that we're considering right now. So I think the porphyry copper search program joint venture makes a lot of sense, because those things are big, expensive targets to explore. If you've just got one, that's fine, but we expect to have more than that, and we do have a fairly extensive package of pretty prospective gold properties as well. So I think that that's an obvious joint venture. In terms of some of the other assets, and you're aware that all the work we do in Nicaragua is a JV with Mineros, and on a specific project, GNM, Guintar Niverengo and Margaritas in Colombia, we also have a joint venture with Mineros. Now, there's then a massive package of applications and titles throughout Colombia, and it's something that we're tossing up right now. Do we do more deals and more JVs, or do we just get on with these ourselves? Both options are available to us at this point in time. It's something we have to think about. JVs always take a bit of management, and generally, we're the operator, and we do operate a lot more effectively when we're on our own. Exploration needs money, so we'll see what the best option is for those assets.
Excellent. Well, thank you very much for the update, Tim. Good luck with the work plans for this year, and look forward to speaking with you again at some point in the future.
Thanks, mate.